probably keep Cassius Winston from completely taking over the game.
Yeah, well, you just got to make it hard on him. It's just like any other player. It's just, very similar to Simpson. You got to try your best to bottle him up and not let him get to the paint, not let him get angles. The thing with him is once he starts making some shots, he can take over a game by scoring. He can take over a game by passing. I think anytime you deal with a great lead guard like him, he can have a game where he doesn't make shots and still dominate the game. Then obviously he can have a game like he did against Michigan the other night and get 32 points. So we've seen him do it a lot of ways. And the best way, in my opinion, you just got to keep working with him. You got to make it hard on him. He's going to score points. He's going to make plays, but you can't give him easy ones. You can't put him to the free throw line. You can't give him wide open shots. You can't give him run-out layups. You have to keep making things hard on them and keep them in front of you and not let them get into the paint. When they're constantly get into the paint, whether that's transition, his drives, post-ups, and they're just getting what they want there, they're going to be really successful in that game.
Do you expect to have Harms tomorrow?
Oh, he went a little bit today. He did some things, so that was good. Just see him go, and but we'll see. Very few times do you see the day before and say it's a game time deal. But anytime you're dealing with somebody that has an injury and they go a little bit in practice, now you got to see how they feel the next day. And so obviously we have an early game tomorrow, so we'll see how he feels tomorrow.
You are calling it like a hip flexor still? Do you know any more about
Yeah, whatever. You'd have to talk to Chad. It's something with his hip, so I try to stay in my lane.
Obviously, Trayvion's production has been key with Matt being out, with the concussion first and then the hip next. How do you, is that a goal of yours to kind of keep feeding him and
Sure.
run the offense through him?
Well, that's the goal anytime he's in the game or Matt's in the game. We've always tried to, when guys are capable of scoring, on the block or in the mid-post, and to give them the basketball. I think because you're going to have a tough time going to the free throw line shooting a bunch of pull-ups and runners and threes. You've got to be able to put a stressor on the defense and drive and get the ball to the rim. And when you have big-bodied guys that can score down there or long guys like Matt that can score down there, you got to give them the basketball. And that's been a little bit of our issue at times, not giving those guys the ball, where they want it, and those guys not working sometimes to get it, deep enough. And, the team that's coming in here, tomorrow is a hard-working blue-collar team. They're just not going to let you do what, you want to do. So it's always that, but our guys got to be able to outwork those guys. If they don't, then you're not going to get the ball where you want.
They've always kind of been the gold standard of the Big Ten for transition offense. Is that the same case with this year's team, and what do you do about that from a transition defense and an offensive perspective?
I think they've been the gold standard, period. If you want to go on toughness, they're the gold standard. If you want to go on winning, they're the gold standard. If you want to go on transition offense or offensive rebounds, they're the gold standard. So they've been the gold standard for a lot of things, and they've been the most successful program. And that's who each team in our league, gauges themselves on, because that's what you want to be able to do. You want to be able to have that level of success, and your effort has to be at a high level, and you have to be able to keep them away from transition opportunities, but you got a hand in their transition opportunities. You want to take a bad shot, you want to turn the basketball over, you want to be careless, they're going to get in transition more. They're going to get in transition no matter what, but you just can't have a high numbers. If they have a high number of transition opportunities, you're normally in for a long night.
Or have they been immune to the road home situations in the Big Ten where the home teams have dominated? They've been able to kind of weather some road.
They've only played one road game.
Northwestern.
Yeah, just Northwestern. They've just had one road game. So, and that was a good game. That was a close game going down the stretch. And so, they've had years where they start off, 4 out of 6 on the road, and sometimes you get that where you go 4 out of 6 at home and things of that nature. But they had a good win on the road, at Seton Hall. Malik Hall played well at the end of that game, and obviously they were able to fight their way through the Northwestern game. Boo Boo, he had a good game for Northwestern coming off the bench. But no, they've always played a challenging schedule. So anytime you have a good crew and a good coach, and you play a challenging schedule, I think you're going to help yourself. And that's what we've all tried to do, is try to help yourself. And I would lean on the experience of their best players. If I had one arrow to kind of point anything to in terms of your question, is you have a Cassius Winston, you have a Xavier Tillman, you have some guys in some pretty key spots that can anchor you and can really help them, with that. Maybe they have better shooters too. I think that comes into play. We've had some pretty good shooting teams here the past 4 or 5 years, and some people would say, "Well, you guys shoot better on the road than a lot of people do." And I'm like, "Yeah, we have better shooters." Sometimes you forget about that.
If you don't have Harms tomorrow, the fact that you guys have played without him for some games,
yes,
and then the extended minutes the other night, is that a little bit more comfortable feeling knowing that you
Sure.
guys have done it without him?
Sure. If you can stay out of foul trouble, it's comfortable. If you don't stay out of foul trouble, they got a lot of bodies that they throw at you, and that's the way they play. They throw a lot of size in there, and he'll do the same thing in this game where he'll throw a lot of size in there and run those guys in there and just try to wear you down. And so for us, it's got to be, you got to be able to be physical and be physical without fouling, especially if you can't go.
What makes their team so good outside of Cassius Winston? Obviously, they have a really talented roster, but what do some of the other guys do that really make it tough on you?
Well, I think just overall, they just have a great program. They play good defense. They take care of the basketball. They're the #1 efficient team offensively in the country. That speaks volumes. Anytime you can be efficient offensively, you help yourself on the defensive end. So just their consistency, through the years. They have big guards. Their 2s and 3s are very big guards. They crash. They give them a lot of size, to the backcourt. So I think that really helps when you have quickness and a playmaker like Cassius Winston.